Hey everyone, happy Facebook Live. It's been a little while since we've
Yeah.
done one, over a week, and that's because the weather's been just absolutely gorgeous, so beautiful. There's a couple reasons we're doing this Facebook Live. Number one, the first important reason is there's a lot of outdoor activities going
yeah.
on this weekend.
Forecast acting up a little bit.
Yeah, forecast
Could
acting up
see-
a little bit. We've got some storm chances. Second reason is because this is going to be my last Facebook Live for a while. My wife and I are going to be taking some time off and celebrating our 20th anniversary. So going to be out of the weather lab for a little while.
Nice, and you deserve it, Dan.
And well, we got Zach here taking care of you guys in the evening, Josh in the mornings, and they'll both be here, watching the storms. And so, what storms are we talking about here, Zach?
Yeah, storm chances. The weather's been so nice, but finally could see some storms. First chance Friday, but that's probably not gonna be a huge deal. I could see a few showers Friday evening, maybe see a storm or two, mainly in our western counties.
Yeah.
And then we're really thinking Saturday, those storm chances pick up, especially during the afternoon hours.
And they're going to be developing kind of right on top of us, too. It's going to be a little iffy. Now, there's also going to be some pieces of energy that could spark off an isolated storm or two in the late morning hours, which would be during the Hog-Eye Marathon, which would be during the spring red-white game. Now, the chance of that happening is not certain. It's not 100%, but it's possible, and we want to break that down for you. So we're going to give you just a little bit of an update. Thank you so much, Lena and Stacy. I appreciate it. Thank you, Margie. 20 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's great.
Man,
20 years.
It's awesome. Yeah. And Alex Bogard says, evening, gentlemen. I just watched his video of him cooking, doing some grilling. This is great grilling weather right now. So let's get to it, show you some timing. And first of all, we're going to highlight the severe weather threat. This is the threat for Friday night into Saturday morning. So we're talking about mainly to the west of our area, maybe an isolated storm or two. The question is will it creep into our area in the early morning hours? Now, you notice that while we might not be in the severe weather risk, this area right here that we're looking at, that's in western Arkansas, that's non-severe storms. Now, what's the problem with non-severe storms? They have lightning.
Yeah.
And that lightning is not a good thing with outdoor activities. So even though we're not in the severe threat, which, by the way, this will update here at 1 o'clock, a strong storm or two is not out of the question to our west. Now, we're going to show you why it's mainly west on Friday, but Saturday, things get a little interesting. The rain chances have been picking up, have been increasing. The models really have not shown much, which is kind of a little confusing.
Yeah,
honestly.
but the last couple of runs, they've been starting to show some stuff forming right over us, especially in our eastern counties Saturday.
Yeah.
During the afternoon, early evening. Gonna have to be watching that.
So we're going to be watching that closely. Let me show you what we've got here. First of all, this is the fuel or the instability. So the brighter the colors, you see the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the purples, or the magentas. That's the really high instability. So this is Friday evening. There's just really not a lot of fuel. It's all mainly to our west. Well, that's where the dry line is going to set up. That's where the moisture pools. But then notice as we move into Saturday late morning, that instability starts creeping in, and then it really ramps up for Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I guess the question here is that cap going to hold?
Yeah, because the cap is that lid. We talked about that in kind of in detail during our severe weather marathon.
That cap held for a long time.
The cap held for a long time. And thankfully, rightfully so. But there's a look at the fuel. I think some thunderstorms will be popping up. The models are picking up on this. So Saturday afternoon, it's looking like storms. So here's what I honestly think. I think the Hog-Eye will be okay, but there's a slight chance of a storm, and I'll show you the forecast for the Hog-Eye. I think the spring red-white game that happens at noon is going to be okay. I think Hogtown will be okay, but the storms are going to pop up probably around 3 o'clock, I think.
Yeah.
3 to 6 is that time window. So according to the latest, the system could slow down. Zach will tell you more tomorrow, but I think 3 to 6 is that time window where storms could be strong to severe. Now, the good news is after 6 o'clock, guess what? The system moves out and the energy pushes out.
So the window is very brief.
It is a very brief window. Let's go ahead and we'll show you again here that moisture getting kicked out quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the front that moves out, and that's going to be the end of the storms. So how about this? The models seem to be split 50-50 on activity. I know they do. It's really weird. The 60-hour WRF model showed a line of broken cells earlier. Wonder if it shows it now. The Texas Tech WRF has a bunch of upper helicity tracks in the River Valley late Saturday.
Oh boy.
How does that make you feel, Josh? And Zach, how does that make you feel? I don't know.
I don't like it.
Well, here's what I don't. In all defense, like the Texas Tech WRF always has a lot of helicity tracks. Just for showers, it shows helicity tracks. But let's get back to that. So there's the energy moving out, and so good. So we can still go to the drive-in Saturday night. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's looking okay, Kayla. No problems there. Now let me show you what the future track looks like for the storm activity. So this is what we've got here for timing. So Saturday, the storm activity is going to be a lot more than Friday. Now Friday, and I'm going to show you why I think there could be some pop-up showers. It's been hinting at that, hasn't it, Zach?
Yeah, the HR has.
But it just doesn't show anything. I want to see what the Texas Tech WRF model shows, and we're going to look at that here in just a second. But there's Saturday morning. There's the system moving out, and then there's Saturday afternoon popping up. So it's got 3 o'clock. There's that time window for storms developing. They're going to mature pretty quickly, but at the same time, they move east pretty quickly. So by about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, the storms are out of here. The temperatures are going to drop. The drive-in is going to be a lot cooler Saturday night, but there won't be any storms. So Saturday night is looking okay. So there's that severe weather risk. Now here's a bit windy though, right? Yeah, it's going to be a bit windy behind that system. Now this is the deal. The jet stream energy is just too much, in my opinion, for the models not to break out any precip. I mean, it's a nose of the jet coming in. It swings in right here Saturday afternoon. And that's just too much energy for it not to produce any storms. And I think the models have been trending farther and farther south on this energy. So maybe a few more storms popping up. And then we go to this map, and I've showed you this before. This is the vorticity map. So basically each one of these little color areas is a spin in the atmosphere, a little spin, a little twist, if you will, and that spin causes rising motion. That lift causes thunderstorm potential if the ingredients are there. So there's the giant upper low. That's the cutoff low that's moving out. Now look at all these little pieces of energy right here and here and here and here and here. There's no way the models have this perfectly. Now, the energy is going to be lagging back, and that's why I think the storms are going to be the West on Friday, and we're going to be capped over us. I really do believe that.
Yeah, me too.
For Friday night. So. Friday night, I think we're going to be good there. Saturday, though, look at all that energy starting to translate eastward. And remember, it's ahead of that vorticity that you see the lift and the rain and the storms, which is exactly where that's at. That's why the models have been breaking out precipitation. And once that moves out, pretty quiet for a few days, perhaps some more active weather, but a lot of that energy will remain to the north.
Yeah.
With the jet stream energy, which is good. Yep.
For us not getting storms, but
yeah,
there could still be a few storms.
We
got
do.
That mid-level little impulse coming through.
We honestly do need rain. So in fact, someone mentioned that here. More season needs some rain. The moral of the story is we need some rain. Yeah. We do. We need rain because we're down. We're down quite a bit in this month. It only has 7/107 inch so far for the month.
It's been dry, but for the year we're over, right?
For the year we're over, yeah. So that's what we're looking at there, and you can see that next storm system, the dip in the jet stream that's moving east, and that's why that thunderstorm activity will be increasing. So we'll look at a couple other models here real fast. We'll look at the let's look at the ICAST data for Saturday. So it doesn't show any activity Saturday morning. There it is popping up. It's a little slower, but I think Saturday's still that time window, 3 to 6. And then they move
kind of forming over us.
They're forming over us, and then they're moving east.
So in our eastern counties, it could be severe, according to this model.
Yeah. I think the eastern counties will be more under the gun for severe weather potential. Let's look at this one real quick. So Friday showing absolutely nothing with the NAM 3 kilometer. a little wave of energy. Remember, a little disturbance could fire off a few storms. It just doesn't have much there for the Hawkeye. Now, see, there's one. That's why we just can't totally remove those rain chances for the Hawkeye. And then you can see the system moving out. And then there's Saturday. There's the energy moving in, and look at how quick they develop too. Those storms are going to pop. You saw the fuel. There's a lot of fuel for these storms. There's no doubt. Okay, so Alex Bogard's asking about the EU, the European, I think. Let's look at the European and see what we've got for that. And I think it's got storms as well. But there's Friday, storms to the west. We're capped. Now, remember, this resolution isn't as great, but it shows those storms popping up 5 to 6, and it keeps showing them hanging around. But really, honestly, they're going to be out of here. So I think that there could be an enhanced risk driven by hail. That's a good question. Blaze says, thoughts on an enhanced risk. So it's already a large day 2 slight. If we look at the day 3, excuse me, here's the probability. And it's got that hatched area for mainly hail. Hail is going to be the main threats. Expected dew points. That's a good question. Let's look at that here. We'll bring up the dew point. So we're looking at dew points probably right around the lower 60s, lower to middle 60s. So, and you'll notice how the moisture is going to pool to the west, which is why those storms. Oh yeah, there was a bad model run, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Let's see if the data loads. See, there's Saturday, moisture's pooling into eastern Oklahoma, and then there's the dew points in the lower 60s. So a little bit higher in the river valley. Just really doesn't. This model was actually kind of. Oh, there we go. Now it's kind of updating slowly. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for dew points in the lower to middle 60s. So not anything to super write home about. Not like last week. Alexis asks, tornadoes possible, and this is of course for Western Grove. A little early to say if it's tornado potential. I think that the SIG-TOR is driven by CAPE. So you're going to see, if we look at the significant tornado parameter, you're probably going to see this go off the charts because it's a lot of CAPE. But the shear isn't overly impressive, in my opinion. However, I'm not going to be in the weather lab, so there's always that. There's the Colby effect, and then there's the Dan Scoff leaving effect.
Oh, is there an effect?
I guess so.
Oh.
Now, if my mom was coming into town, we'd be batting down the hatches. See how there's just really not much SIG-TOR, and that is updated, by the way. So there's just not much of a SIG-TOR parameter. And the reason for that is there's just not a lot of shear. There's not a lot of low-level shear. So while tornadoes are always possible this time of the year, I don't think it's going to be the main threat. So, all right. Well, Texas Tech WRF, and then we'll close it off. And we'll shut it down. So, Zach, what's your thoughts on everything? What do you think?
I'm thinking Saturday, quick window where we could see a few of those stronger storms. But I'm glad it's going to be out of here before the shows are over. So I'm not going to be a late night for us.
Yes.
And it's not going to be overnights.
Yes.
Which is the more, storms during the overnight. They tend to be more dangerous because you can't see it coming. So.
Oh, that's a good point. As far as I know, you cannot have a hail-driven high risk. No, you can't have a high risk. We didn't say high risk. We only said enhanced. You can have a wind and tornado-driven, obviously, but I'm remembering right. Hail on its own cannot produce a high risk. That's correct. Yes. That's a very educated statement right there. Very good, Jacob. All right, so let's show you the Texas Tech WRF, and then that's what we'll do. We'll just we'll shut it down after that. So let's load up this. So this is the Texas Tech WRF. We'll look at the latest one. So this is, by the way, Friday, right here at 7:00. Nothing.
Nope.
Capped. That's good.
Yeah.
A lot of sin. We can look at the sin. Let's look at the sin. Oh, yeah. A lot of sin. Look at that. Although we are on the gradient of no sin, but then again, we're on the gradient of no instability either. So you can also have no sin when you have no instability.
Yeah.
You saw that. So there's the instability making its way eastward. And
But
yes,
then there's Saturday.
it definitely does on Saturday. However, check out what the precipitation looks like. So there's Saturday afternoon, and then it pops it up in the river valley, but it moves it east pretty quick.
Yeah.
I do think that time window is going to be. So what's great is the Hog Eye is in the morning. The Hog Town is in the morning. The spring red-white game scrimmage football is around noon. And it's
Well,
gonna
that's noon, or that's
yeah,
1 o'clock.
that's 1 o'clock. So
And
it's
got some
going to be
storms.
close. Does it have
Yeah.
storms, or is it just kind of like showers that haven't really fully matured yet? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go to the previous run and let's see what it did. Capped. Oh, see, that has a lot more.
Showing a lot more later.
Yeah,
What about the sin for Saturday?
good question. Let's check it out. I don't think it's going to be there. I think it weakens. Yep, there it is. It weakens. Yep, sin weakens. Let's go to the current run and see if that's the same. So the sin is basically a measure of the cap. That's how you know the cap is basically lessening or starting to lift. When we say lift, that's really kind of like a play on words, because you would like to have a cap or a lid, you would essentially be lifting off the lid to form storms. So,
Yep.
Well, it's just it has to be a certain percentage, the hail and the wind. We can look at that too if you want to look. I'll show you the convective outlooks and the different types of risks that you can have and what can drive them. So stand by. And this is for the day 1, day 2, and day 3. So let me bring that up here real quick.
Oh, so there could be a moderate hail driven.
There can be a moderate driven with hail, but there can't be a high. Yep. Okay, so here you go. So here's the day 1, and this is what basically drives it. So tornado 2% marginal. Sometimes hail cannot be used. If you notice, there's no 2%. There's only 5% for wind and hail. There's no 10%. There's no 10% with significant. It goes 5 and 15 with hail. But you'll notice hail goes enhanced. Hail goes all the way up to moderate. So 60% with significant severe is a moderate, which that's pretty high, that relatively speaking. That's very, very up there. But wind and tornado is what causes a high risk. So we look at down here, it's pretty much the exact same for the day 2. And then the day 3, there is no high risk for a day 3. You can't have a day 3 high. You can't have a day 3 moderate, which is extremely rare.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that's pretty rare. So anyways, that's the SPC. That's their driven areas. And so if you look, I think the reason for this is because 60%, most thunderstorms have hail, especially if you're in a high risk or a moderate risk. So it's like, I don't know, you would have to create a different category, and they don't want to. So that's probably why there's not a high risk that can be hail driven. Yeah, that was a very educated question, but there you go. There's the reasoning behind it. So there's the risks, there's how they're driven, and yeah, and that's that. All right. Time I mentioned earlier with the storms was at 21Z. Yeah, so basically 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Spring football. Yeah, that's right. What is SID? I don't know. What is SID? I don't know, Alex. Well, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up here. So we'll do a quick recap for those that are just hopping on. So tomorrow, capped probably most of the day. I don't think we see anything.
Looking pretty quiet.
There are storms. They'll be very isolated, and they'll be kind of falling apart as they move in Friday night. So baseball versus Tennessee, no problem. Great weather. As we move into Saturday for the Hog-Eye, we didn't show that. I will show the 7-day as well. Let's show you the Hog-Eye here. And this is just for Saturday. This is our forecast for Saturday. So we've got, it's going to be warm. It's going to be mid to upper 60s because of that humidity increasing, which is not the best for running.
No.
But notice how we got that rain chance. We have to keep it in there. It's too much energy. There could be an isolated storm. But you'll notice south winds, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Temperatures in the lower 70s. So we do have those storm chances. So that's that. And then here's the 7-day forecast just to let you know. And we'll wrap it up at that point. So 80 degrees on Friday, Saturday in the upper 70s. Sunday will be in the lower 60s. And then that's the cooler weather that moves in. So Sunday's Hog-Eye won't be a problem at all. And then you say right there's a 7-day. So it will be a little bit of an active pattern, but there's a lot of uncertainty with midweek next week.
Yeah, as far as those severe chances, you can't really, pinpoint that down now.
You know what? It is April.
It is April.
And honestly, normally I don't take off when severe weather, but the problem is my anniversary is this time. And so that's just, you got to do what you got to do. And then my daughter's graduating. So there's going to be graduation stuff. And so there's just not, and then my wife and daughter are going on their graduation senior trip. So
nice.
There's just, there's only a limited time to do that. You got to do what you got to do. Right. But there's a look at the River Valley forecast. Still a chance of storms. We did change it to mainly PM. We probably might even be able to remove that icon, honestly.
Yeah, probably do that tomorrow.
Yep. Alex says, I thought you used the term SID, so in coordination with the cap.
I think he meant like when we were saying sin.
Oh, sin. Yeah, sin. Yeah. Sin is, by the way, it's, just to let you know, Alex, it's CIHN, which stands for convective inhibition.
Yeah.
So it's sin H. Sin is in CIN. Yeah.
That's pretty much just like the measure of the inversion. Right?
That's the measure of the inversion and the measure of the amount of negative CAPE. It's the amount of negative CAPE.
Yeah.
That's what sin is negative CAPE. Now, what we mean by that is the air rises with CAPE if it hits that level. But it's got to be forced to that level if you have sin. And so the sin, we're not talking about SIN. This is sin is in convective inhibition, CINH. C is in Charlie, I is in India, N is in November, and H is in hotel.
Yeah.
So sin H, convective inhibition. That's negative CAPE. So that's where the temperature is cooler than its surrounding environment, which is stable. So we could break that down for you again. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. Super excited. Thank you, Alex. We are going to be, like I said, Zach's got the weather lab tomorrow and all of next week, and I'm going to be out of pocket. So negative cap. You got it. Yeah. Well, it's not a negative cap. It's negative CAPE.
Yeah.
Negative CAPE. Cap is sin. So it's confusing, but the cap is another word for the lid or for convective inhibition, and negative CAPE is the same thing as convective inhibition or sin or the lid or the cap.
Yeah. It's not trivial.
No,
as
it's
my
not.
College professor would say.
CAPE, I've got homework. He's like, yes. And CAPE stands for convective available potential energy. That's right. Okay. Thanks, guys, for watching. I will see you later. I'm going to be probably MIA on social media. So I'm just going to be unplugging completely.
Definitely need that.
Absolutely. You do. Not because I don't love you guys, but got to have a break. Otherwise, it'll go insane. got to refresh the batteries, recharge, and hopefully I don't come back beat red like a lobster. All right. Cap, no ingredients can be added, much like in the pasta closed pot. There you go.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. And the water is boiling, but it's not getting out of the pot of the lid.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys, take care. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. He's got you covered.
Yeah, me and Josh got you.
Yeah, they got you.
We can take care of this.
All right, we'll see you.